friends. All right, so today I'm reading you probably one of my favorite stories, one of Laura May's favorite stories, and probably one of Logan's favorite stories as well. And I'm reading this story to you for a couple of reasons. I'm going to explain it to you. I'm going to explain one of those reasons at the very end of the story, and at this time I'm going to explain one of those reasons now. One of them is we're learning about the letter N, and it's titled Our Tree Named Steve. So the N word in our story is named. But we really like this story. It has a very sweet message. It talks about a lot of sweet things in it, and the importance of the things around us, and then what sometimes we have to do when things change, which is kind of what's happening to us right now, because here you guys are watching me read this story to you through a video instead of our classroom. But it's not necessarily a bad thing that we're doing that. It's a safe thing. It's for safety reasons is why we're doing that. But I'm going to read the story, and then I'm going to talk to you a little bit after about why this story makes me think of kind of about the situation that we're in right now, kind of about how we're dealing with things right now. All right, so Our Tree Named Steve is written by Alan Zabel and illustrated, or the pictures are drawn by David Catrow. All right, let's get started. Our Tree Named Steve. Dear kids, a long time ago, when you were little, Mom and I took you to where we wanted to build a house for us to live in. But in order to build there, men had to come and clear the land. So they had to chop down some trees and they had to move some things so that they could build the house in this spot for this family. I remember there was one tree, however, that the three of you couldn't stop staring at. Adam thought it was crying. Lindsay said it looked nervous, and Sari, who was only 2 years old, couldn't pronounce the word tree, so she called it Steve. I love you, Steve, she kept saying. And then Adam and Lindsay started saying it, and before too long, Mom and I got the hint and asked the builder to please save Steve. Don't knock him down for when they build the house. The day we moved in, Steve was there to greet us. He quickly worked his way into your lives as a swing holder, a target, third base, a hiding place, jump rope turner. Or whenever our dryer broke down, he held our underwear with pride. Yes, right there in the center of our yard, this weird-looking tree grew to become the center of our outdoor life. Through all our barbecues and campouts and dance parties. Or when Adam and Lindsay started getting crushes on the Simon kids next door, Steve adjusted to their every need. It's a pretty good tree, isn't it? And it wasn't always easy standing tall through snowstorms in the winter. Or when Uncle Chester napped in the hammock couldn't possibly have been fun. Not to mention the time that the sewer overflowed and Steve sucked up all the smelly water before it drowned Kirby. Then got so sick himself that the tree doctor had to give Steve a haircut that made him look like a big thumb. Through the years, Mom and I have tried to show you, in a world filled with strangers, the peace that comes with having things you can count on and a safe place to return to after a hard day or a long trip. Which brings me to the point of this letter. Last week, a storm hit our area. And though we spared Steve's life a long time ago, this time we couldn't save him. You see, the storm hit and broke Steve. Are we sad? Sure we are. But even in his final moments, when he could have fallen on our house, Sorry's swings, Kirby's house, or Mom's garden, Steve performed his last trick and protected all of us to the very end. And friends like this are hard to find. So he went the other direction. He didn't knock any of their stuff over or hurt or break any of their stuff. So when you come home from Grandma's next week, Steve will not be able to greet you as he's done in the past. And I'm sorry about that. But please know that Steve will always be with us in our hearts, in our thoughts, and in a different tree at the other end of the yard. See you next week. Love, Dad. If you look right there, you can see a treehouse. And that treehouse was made out of all the lumber that came from Steve after he fell from the storm. So he's still with them. He's just with them a little bit differently. Just like I'm with you a little bit differently than I am when we're at school. Your safe place right now is your house, and my safe place right now is my house. And until we can go back to All Saints and that's our safe place, we have to do things a little bit differently. So I get to read this story to you, and you get to watch me on video. But soon we'll be back together, and I'll get to read you a story in our classroom. I love you, I miss you, and I can't wait to see you.